let's keep moving back to the world of video games. What are we going to talk about, young man?
So every year, obviously, is the Electronic Entertainment Expo. I believe I got that right.
I totally forgot we're doing this topic.
E3, which is every June. Is that right? June, I think.
Oh, yes.
This year, obviously, every year there's traditionally for like basically the whole existence of E3, there has been a Nintendo, a Microsoft. Well, I guess the Xbox or the E3 predates the Xbox, but like a Nintendo, PlayStation, and Microsoft press conferences at E3. And a lot of people, there have been kind of murmurs that E3 is kind of on its way out. Like, is it really necessary anymore? Sort of thing. And
it's kind of turning into like Comic-Con.
I guess. I mean, it's open to the public. Last year, the year before, they opened it up to the public
for
the first time.
Well, it's like not. It's because everyone's moving their other stuff out of like the Comic-Con kind of atmosphere, moving it to like their own, like D23. They have their own.
Right. Yeah. Or like one. EA Play Now and stuff like that.
Yeah, EA Play Now. But even like the Marvel, the DC, doesn't DC? They go to something else besides San Diego Comic-Con, and then Game of Thrones weren't there. There's a lot of stuff that's not at Comic-Con where it's like the same thing kind of happening.
But those are just like individual year choices, not like they are abandoning those things.
Yeah, but I mean, but like when you have that like less of a presence there, it kind of takes away in a way, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
I think the purists, I think the people that originally were at Comic-Con probably enjoy it more because there was less people probably. But for like I think it's died down a little bit more after year. But anyways,
I guess, yeah. In any case, 2 days ago now, I believe, PlayStation or Sony announced that they are not going to be holding their annual press conference at E3 this year. So PlayStation going to have, I guess I don't know about individual games. Maybe it's like just the press conference itself they're not going to do, like the showcase. But like maybe some of their games will still be there. Think maybe perhaps things that we already know are coming, like The Evil Within 2 and stuff like that. Kojima's project, whatever, Death Stranding. Anyway, but the showcase itself, which is normally like a 2 to 2.5 hour reveal of like everything that they're working on, basically, or almost everything that they're working on. So PlayStation is backing out of that, and there's not going to be. It's only going to be Xbox and Nintendo this year, with no PlayStation press conference. So what do you think about that?
Well, they didn't have PSX this year either, which is kind of interesting too.
Right.
Maybe they're taking a step back. Maybe there could be a bunch of different variables. Maybe some people in the organization didn't like the way they did last year's E3, or maybe they thought it wasn't necessary, I guess. I don't know. It's weird to have like an original game maker, I guess, a console maker, not be there for the first time. I'm not sure if it's gonna hurt them or not, or what the benefits or the cons really are going to be until we actually find out after. But them not having like a presence there is going to be kind of weird, obviously, because the way you always watch the conferences, you watch like the Xbox one, and then it's Sony, and then everyone else basically after that. I'm not sure, because I mean Nintendo will be there probably on the floor, but not have like an actual presentation like they usually do. They usually just do like a direct.
Right. They haven't had a regular presentation for a while now.
So maybe PlayStation might be the other variable, is that they might want to take the approach that Nintendo's doing, where they just have stuff on the floor, but do a direct kind of like video, in a way. Maybe that's what we might get to. Maybe that's what they're. Maybe I think I've heard that they probably are not going to do that, but I wouldn't be surprised if, the usual time when they do their conference, they just throw a 30-minute video together of what they're working on, and then put it on the internet, like Nintendo does.
Maybe, yeah. I think that I don't expect PlayStation to do anything like that. I would expect that. I have a feeling that they kind of let everything out of the bag. Like, obviously, everyone kind of knows at this point that the next Xbox and the next PlayStation are coming.
Mm.
I think that for PlayStation specifically, that might be... It's possible that's really all the information that they have, and they're not ready to show their PlayStation yet. Or they're saving it for like maybe next year's Paris Games Week or next year's PSX.
Yeah, I would think they're gonna probably announce the next PlayStation at PSX next year.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think maybe they're holding off everything until PSX to do Death Stranding again. Days Gone would be out by then. Last of Us will be out by then. So there's kind of no reason to do E3 next year too, because the only game is going to be Death Stranding when I think of it. Or the Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima, yeah.
That doesn't come out until 2020 probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, like it probably maybe is
so
a
in
first
any
quarter
case,
release.
like the rumor is that the new consoles are coming in 2020. So that would typically mean that the 2019 cycle is going to be relatively dead because like there's not going to be a lot of big late game titles with the next generation sitting right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So Sony may be slightly, I guess, a victim of that in that they have released or shown trailers for basically probably 90% of what they're working on. At least as far as like the big like AAA things are concerned, because I think we know for the most part like what all of their studios are working on at this point.
Yeah.
All their big studios anyway.
Uh,
So I think that them taking a break to me signifies that it gives it a higher probability that the consoles are coming.
Because they've already Xbox has already had the Scarlet be kind of leaked and is already out there.
They talked about it openly, basically, that they were working on hardware at last E3.
Yeah.
But they never like gave it a name.
And then
gave it like a official name.
Sony or whoever runs PlayStation talked about PlayStation the next. They didn't have a name. They just called the next console or whatever. And then like a little interview or something like that. So it's already been confirmed that they're already working on both console makers are both working on the next generation anyways. So yeah, it's gonna be weird. I think the most important thing from what I hear is the best way to get ahead on the console race is to announce it first, I guess, in a way, or get ahead of the curve. Because the last cycle, PlayStation announced that they're releasing the console first, but they didn't give any kind of price point or anything like that.
No, I think that's where I think it was kind of the other way around, actually. I think that like they announced the PS3 first.
No, the 4. I'm talking about 4.
Oh, 4? Oh, okay.
I'm talking about 4. They announced the PS4 at PSX, I think, but it wasn't until E3 where they told like the date and the price. But they didn't tell the price until after the Xbox.
Yeah.
Because the Xbox went first that year, and they revealed, I believe they revealed the console. Or said that like, this is what's going to happen. And then they did it, and then they gave the price point, and then PlayStation basically was like, oh, whoa, $100 cheaper.
Yeah, it's true. I think, but the year before, or like the cycle before, it was the other way around. Where it was like PS3 came out, and then it was like, oh, $599.99, and everyone's like, what? And it like Xbox was out at like $350, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
So, or maybe $400.
And they had definitely
like a $200 gap.
They had
between the
definitely good launching games with it too, with Halo 3 and Skyrim, or not Skyrim, Oblivion.
I think that this is a really good opportunity for Xbox. I think because what normally happens, I feel anyway, as someone who like plays the majority of my console games on Xbox, is that like the Xbox conference is always first, and they have like 12 to 24 hours of coverage in general. And then, like, the PlayStation conference comes after, and the PlayStation conference dominates the rest of E3, sort of thing. Like, regardless of the quality of the conferences. Like, it's just, like, the PlayStation information is the most recent stuff.
Right, because it's fresh in people's head.
Right. So I feel like Microsoft has always had... I'm surprised, really, that it wasn't Microsoft that moved out of E3 first. Because, like, I always felt like they got the short end of the stick from this. Just being, like the sequence of the conferences and the way it's always gone. I think this is a really big opportunity for Microsoft. I think that the moment
they're already going to be showing off the new console or the newer version of this gen with a no disk drive.
Was that confirmed that was a thing?
I think that's going to be what they're going to be talking about.
Okay, well maybe I honestly wouldn't be surprised to get a full console release or like.
I think we're going to get that for the next year's Xbox conference or whatever we call it, Microsoft little expo. I think. If they go first and announce like, hey, we're releasing this next year, or it'll be 2019 by the time that happens, And then say 2020, you're gonna get it this, or we're announcing that this is here, but we don't have a date or a price yet. And then I think the pricing is gonna be kind of what might break or help Xbox out. I'm not too sure. Like, what do you think the pricing
Maybe.
is gonna be?
I would imagine it'll be like another $400.
Okay, because so the Xbox One X.
Oh, I see what you mean.
How much was that?
5,
So it was $5.
$550.
They're gonna have to get that console
Five,
down
something.
to probably like $399 on launch, I think.
I think that's doable. I think especially well,
It's gonna be a better console. Anyways.
I also don't necessarily hardware wise, I think it will be
Yeah, it's gonna be stronger, more powerful.
I think that Microsoft has given itself a little bit of leeway, I think, with the price point because of programs that they have like Games Pass where like so say this is a 2020 console release, they're working on a new Halo and Gears, like presumably and like there'll be a Forza that year and stuff like that. All of the first party titles, the precedent that Microsoft have set is that like the first party titles are included with Games Pass. So like if you're even at that like $450 to $500 price point, but like you get a year of Games Pass for free.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Like you now get all of the first party titles
everything
included
backwards,
with your
and if it's
system.
backwards compatible on launch, that's even better.
with like both original Xbox and Xbox 360.
Yeah, because if they do a thing where like the first 6 months you get, let's say Live and Games Pass for free, that's a good selling point. Say if they do it $450 or $4 or $5
Yeah.
or $4.99,
Yeah.
I think that's like the $100 right there will make up for it. But they also have to reveal what's going to be on launch too, because those
Yeah,
have
that's
to be that one of those has to be an exclusive. So it's either the next Halo game or next Gears game or something else. Whatever.
I think it'll be both of those, but there'll also be like that'll give 2 years for like all the studios that they've acquired over the last like 2 years now or a year and now,
to
which is like 7.
Hey guys, we're working
Like,
on
hey,
this.
yeah, this is what we're working on. Obviously, like a
Record.
few of those, it'll be like a really long time. But I just think in general that Microsoft actually has more to gain from Sony leaving E3 than Sony has to gain from leaving E3, in my opinion.
Well, they also have the chance of just messing it up too.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like they need to like have good content first of all. Like it needs to be like good games, good services, like good system at a good price. Like if they like botch that, then it doesn't matter.
Because like what Sony, they really don't gain or lose anything by not going. Microsoft takes like the risk of going. It's the risk of gaining something or losing.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And Sony can afford to take this risk because of like the lead that they have right now on Microsoft, just like in this generation's like console wars or whatever. I think the bigger picture being like, how is this for like if I was in charge of running E3, how would I feel? I would be like really concerned that this is the beginning of the end. Like Nintendo, obviously now for a few years has not had a like traditional press conference. EA has already left. But like, and I think that they were able to especially the state that Nintendo was in when Nintendo stopped doing the press conferences. I think like that was like Wii U era.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one really cared, honestly.
Yeah.
EA leaving's like cool. You got sports games and Battlefield.
I just remember I saw a tweet of the countdown for the Wii U, and it was down to 1 second, and it says 1 second from a disaster. I'm sorry, that popped in my head right now.
So like, I think E3 was gonna be able to weather both of those. But I think PlayStation leaving, like PlayStation, the number one giant in the gaming industry at the moment, like if they don't come back, like if 2020 E3 comes around and like they're gonna go like Sony's just gonna make PSX their thing, and like they never come back to E3, that's concerning because like that's not from like a E3 standpoint, like that's not a void that can be filled.
Yeah.
So like it could kind of signal like the beginning of the end for like E3 as we know it.
Well, I mean, the void can be filled to see. I mean, if Xbox can punch back this next generation at the beginning and start off well.
Yeah.
They can.
And I think they've positioned themselves well to do so.
Yeah, with all the studios there, because obviously
and
Obsidian,
the services,
and
like just with like
the extra studio they got
live and backwards compatibility and there's a whole bunch of like little things that are super useful in like the Xbox like ecosystem, and then like Games Pass obviously.
Yeah, because I hear about how slow it is playing a PlayStation 3 game on the PS4.
You're streaming it. You can't like download it.
Yeah, which is like,
yeah.
oh wow.
Yeah.
And then not changing your.
So
your
Xbox
game
have
tag
like
is kinda
advantages in a lot of like scenarios, but like obviously where they've struggled is first party games. So
weird.
that's where they need to make up ground.
Yeah, I think they just need to have something in there launch. That's it. That's all I need. Like you need to see to have any kind of.
I don't know. I don't know
Just-
that I necessarily agree with that, because like I believe that they're gonna have like Gears and Halo on launch, and like that'll be fine.
Yeah,
Launch will
but
be fine.
is it going to be a good? Like I'm saying, like I felt like Gears 4 and Halo 5. Not that they did like they just didn't deliver.
I would say Halo 5. I would agree with you. But even then, like
I
a
don't think
lot of
Gears
people
will-
play Halo just for the multiplayer, and like
Yeah.
I think the multiplayer did fine.
Yeah, the multiplayer did fine. Like it would like they had the Halo Championships this like past weekend.
Well, that and like all the updates were free content drops.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any paid DLC for Halo 5.
But yeah,
Stuff like that.
They need to have something because the last couple of, and then we have Crackdown next year too. Like a lot, the exclusive are fun to play, but they're not. They're just not at a level yet, and then I think it's because of the single player elements of those games. With Gears 4 and Halo 5, just didn't. Really
Yeah, if you look at the PlayStation games that
deliver.
like really stick out over the last like year, it's like your God of War, your Spider-Man, your Detroit, your I almost said Forza Horizon, Horizon Zero Dawn, stuff like that. Like all those are like mainly single player driven.
Well, I
experiences.
mean, yeah, that's another thing too, because is Sony gonna try to get back into like the multiplayer? Are they gonna try to play with other genre games, or are they just gonna stick with single player, which is pretty much working?
Yeah.
But I think Xbox is like 1 or 2 games away from doing that themselves and pulling that off.
If Microsoft can just pull level as far as like single player experience, I think they'll have the advantage, because they have. It's really like all they need for the rest of that. Like multiplayer games, they have the better controller. Like that's literally, in my book, all they need for me to like. I'm never gonna play Call of Duty on PlayStation. I'm never gonna play Battlefield on PlayStation.
Yeah, you're never
I'm
gonna play those third-party games on that console,
Right.
Unless it's an exclusive,
Right.
That's like kind of like why the only reason why you have a PlayStation in the first place.
So anyway,
I just like how people ask me, "Do you have a PlayStation?" I'm like, "No." I'm
I
sorry.
mean, I have one. I have one game. It's called MLB The Show.
Because it's the only game you can play that. I mean, that's the only console you can play that on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So that's Matt. That's
Maybe
my
this
point.
year we'll get a baseball game on Xbox.
That RBI. You already have a baseball
Oh,
game.
don't even get me started with that crap.
All right. What's next?
We're gonna move on to our last topic. We're gonna move to Pennsylvania Avenue.
But before we do that, let us know in the comments down below on what you think PlayStation is going to do or what's going to happen. Let us know in the comments down below. Also, let us know when you think the next consoles are going to come out and the price points.